Coming up on the Making Waves VO podcast.
If something goes wrong, you're done. You're not going to be able to do anything about it. You're not going to be able to chase somebody in the Middle East or China. So, and that's where a lot of the scams come from. Unfortunately, I don't want to sound like I'm being prejudiced or racist, but it's just a fact. Like, that's where people are there in those areas of the world where the scams come out of. I guess the reason why is because they don't have IP laws.
Making waves.
Making waves.
Making waves.
Making waves. Making waves.
Making waves.
Making waves.
Making waves. Making waves.
This is the Making Waves VO podcast with Kevin Kilpatrick and Bobby Maxwell.
It is the Making Waves VO podcast. Presented, we couldn't do it without them. Presented by our good friends at Full Compass, fullcompass.com.
We know, VO.
And Bobby, how have you been this week?
Doing good. It's been a good week. Very, very good week for a summertime week.
Yeah. Late in the summertime, falls upon us. Football season is well underway. And we thought it would be a great idea to talk about some of the things that happen to we voice actors legally. There's some scams out there. There are some issues. Yeah. Yeah. There's some issues with contracts that we need help with. There are all these kinds of things. And you know what? We have an amazing person in our industry that we can talk to about such things. And Bobby, I might need a little bit of help with his name. Okay. And I know this has happened with him, but I'm going to do my best. Okay. It's Robert Sciglimpaglia. Is that it, Bobby? Is that how you say it, Bobby?
It's Sciglimpaglia.
It's Sciglimpaglia. Bada bing, bada boom. Ladies and gentlemen.
I'm going to Italy in 2 weeks. I need to know.
All right, let's get him a real intro going. He's an on-camera actor, a voice actor, and an attorney. Please welcome to the Making Waves VO podcast, Robert Sciglimpaglia. Is that right?
Perfect.
Really?
Robert Sciglimpaglia. Hey.
Excellent.
How are you, man?
I'm very good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for being on the podcast with us today. And yeah, we thought we've had this idea, Robert, of covering some of these things. And we've got the perfect person in the industry to do this. And my first question to you is, we'll get into the voice acting and the on-camera acting and that kind of stuff in just a little bit. But would you consider yourself, because I feel like many do, would you consider yourself the unofficial attorney for the voiceover industry?
Yeah.
I guess I wear that tag, sure. I mean,
A little reluctantly, it sounds like.
Yeah, I mean, it's not
It is what it is.
I ever asked for. I wrote the book, and so that's kind of why I'm the de facto attorney for the industry, I guess.
I want to know how you went from just being an attorney and one day you just said, I have a really good voice. Or maybe your mom told you had a really good voice.
No, not my mom. I have a story about that, but no. So I always liked arts and acting. I never really did it because I was more the technical guy. So I'd be the guy running the soundboard or doing the video camera, whatever. So I was just flipping through an adult ed. I took a lot of adult ed classes after I graduated law school, just because I like to learn. And I saw one for voice acting. I didn't even know really what it was, so I took it, and I said, "Oh, I got to do this." I immediately fell for it, loved it, said, "I can do this." And so from there, I took a lot more classes and did a demo and just started doing it. And then I went from there to on camera, and it kind of evolved. Now I produce, so it kind of evolved from that point forward. But the law kind of is a thread that goes through the whole thing for me, because the law ties a lot of the things together, both on the performance side and on the business side. So that's why I stayed being a lawyer, and I didn't completely give that up, because it really does tie things together. So
You touched on your book a minute ago. Would you describe your book that you wrote?
yeah, so I wrote a book called Voiceover Legal, and the way that came about was voice actors that knew I was a lawyer would ask me legal questions all the time. So, should I set up an LLC? How should I file my taxes? What should I do so I don't get sued? Can I do voice impersonation? Should I copyright stuff? A whole bunch of questions. So what I did was I started writing those down because I got a lot of the same questions over and over again. And there were some unique things that I came to me too, and they still do. So I wrote those things down, and that was basically how the book was born. Those common questions were each chapter in the book. And then I put some illustrations as to some of the real cases that I handled that were unique, and I put those in the book as case studies. So that's it. I've been working on the second edition for a while now, so hopefully I'll get that out soon.
Have a lot of laws changed?
Well, yeah, laws have evolved. When I wrote the book, there was no such thing as artificial intelligence.
Wow.
The SAG-AFTRA merger hadn't happened yet. No NAVA. There was a lot of things that happened since I wrote the book that I want to update it. So, especially AI, and that's a big one.
You don't want to miss what's next. Making Waves returns momentarily.
Hello, this is Tom Pinto, voice actor and coach. And whenever I'm done listening to myself, I listen to Kevin Kilpatrick and Bobby Maxwell, the hosts with the most.
Oh, Bobby, I remember getting into voiceover, and one of the most exciting parts about getting into voiceover is buying all the gear. You don't realize that until you become a voice actor and you got to produce your own stuff. And you go, ooh, this part should be fun. But then you go, I have not a clue on what I'm supposed to buy.
Exactly.
That's why you trust your good friends at Full Compass, fullcompass.com. They know VO there, and you're going to have a great selection of pro audio gear, and you're going to get a lot of good help. And there's a lot of good attributes that go along with buying from Full Compass.
Yeah, so if you're not really sure when you got the piece of equipment and you have questions about it, they have a free 2-year service or repair plan. They have free shipping on orders over $49. I love that. I think my favorite thing is the low price guarantee, because you just never know. You said a second ago that you're getting into this and you don't know what you need, but how about, do you know if you're paying the right price for it? So you don't have to worry about that when you shop at fullcompass.com. They'll guarantee to match the price on the products they sell for new, identical, and immediately available products offered at a lower price.
They have flexible financing, Bobby, and they also have free expert assistance, and that's why we say we know VO at Full Compass.
Everything from microphones to interfaces to headphones to mic booms, they've got it.
If you have any questions and you're more old school and you want to call them on the phone, you can call Full Compass at 800-356-5844. Full Compass and fullcompass.com.
We know VO.
Making Waves returns.
You mentioned LLC, and that was going to be one of my questions, because it seems like whenever somebody new comes into the business, that's one of the questions I'll get. So, to LLC or not to LLC?
Right.
What's your take?
Exactly. So I just look at voiceover as any other business. So if any business person came into my office and they were serious about starting a business, I would tell them they should set up some kind of entity. And the LLC is the easiest one because you can do a single member LLC with zero paperwork, very little paperwork, and you run it just like a sole proprietorship. And then you could go a little more sophisticated from there. You can you tax yourself as an S or a C as you start making more money. But I just look at it as anybody that's starting up a business, really, that they don't want to do it as a hobby, they want to do it seriously, should set up an entity. It's kind of protocol as far as I'm concerned. Plus, it shields your personal liability. That's the reason to do it. The big reason. That's why they exist, so that your personal assets are not at risk. So there's a lot of people that are coming into voiceovers that are coming from as a second career, and they've got savings, and they've got a house, and they've got assets, and so especially people like that, they should be setting up LLCs and keeping this separate from those things.
That's interesting that you bring that up, Robert, because I want to just dive in with my personal, story. And if you need to send me an invoice after this is done, feel free to do so. I understand
he won't pay it.
Yeah, it's all about making that cash. But I'm going to remember that, Bobby, when it comes time to pay you, by the way.
Touche.
So, I've been a sole proprietor, Robert, since 2004. And when I've, transitioned from radio boy to full-time voice actor and producer, and I produce a lot of stuff, but, the meat and potatoes is the voiceover side. But I do some coaching. I do some demo production. I do, regular audio production work. And I've been doing that. That model has been that way for over 20 years now. And I've heard along the way that, well, if you want to protect yourself and your personal risk and all that stuff, you should do an LLC. But then I've heard from accountants, they're like, well, what are you going to do that's going to put yourself at risk? And I'm like, well, I'm putting my voice out there, and then maybe a little bit of demo production or that kind of stuff. What kind of pitfalls could I fall into, somebody that has my business model that's not an LLC?
Such an accountant answer. They should sit in my chair for a day and see what
I'm
comes in.
I'm sure.
So, I mean, if you're doing demo production, number one, you could get sued by your clients. I mean, we know that, clients, they come in all shapes and sizes, and some of them are not mentally stable.
And they can't be satisfied.
So, am I going to just open up my personal assets for somebody like that's going to come after me? Absolutely not.
Yeah.
So it only takes one person to do that to you, and you're paying lawyers. You're going to pay the lawyer anyway to defend the LLC. But I mean, the thing is, if you're doing business through the LLC, theoretically, you could just close it up and start another one, and it would be a lot cheaper in legal fees to do that, because they're just going to be able to go after the LLC unless you're doing things on a personal basis. So, I mean, that's an obvious one. As voice actors get in trouble all the time. I mean, they really do.
Wow.
All the time, voice actors getting in trouble. I mean, I see voice actors posting things on social media, and it's under an NDA, and they get in trouble. I see voice actors that don't deliver the way they're supposed to. They can't do the proper quality. They got sick. Something happened. They couldn't deliver the files. That gets them in trouble. There's personal liability for that if they have to go out and hire somebody else, and it costs them more money. Those things happen all the time, and that's just the basic stuff. We're not even talking about defamation, slander, libel, anything like that.
Wow.
Where it's bigger.
That's eye-opening.
AI is huge now. Like people can clone your voice easily and do a deep fake of you and let me just tell you a story about that. So
yeah,
I had a client that did a job on Fiverr, and he read this script about Bitcoin and this great investment opportunity. Mm-hmm. And it was a scam. The people were running a scam, and they made him look like the CEO. So guess what happened?
Oh, they sued
It was
him.
a scam. They went after every single person, flamed him online. They were going to sue him, all this stuff.
Oh,
and
wow.
Fiverr did zero to protect him, zero. They just ran away. So he came to me, and I had to help him. So he just did this voiceover job where he was saying, hey, you should invest in our fund, and we can make money, and I'm the CEO, and and he didn't even say he was the CEO, but it sounded like he was. The way the copy was written made it sound like it was from the CEO's perspective. Mm-hmm. And so everyone who listened to that assumed he was the CEO. And I'm telling you, he got like, you want to talk about hate mail? He got so many emails and so many negative comments, and that affects you on Fiverr, your ratings.
Yeah.
Right. So he basically had to get off the platform, and he was making decent money on it. And
wow.
Literally, Fiverr did nothing for him. Nothing. They ran away.
Well, it's so interesting because Fiverr just announced, yesterday or the day before, that they are turning, they let go of 30% of their workers, and they're going to concentrate on AI first.
Okay.
They actually say AI first, human next.
That's not surprising, because this was a complete and utter scam that somebody posted on Fiverr. It was a complete scam. People were just, it was a Bitcoin fund, but they just took the money and ran. I don't even know, who knows where they were, but it was a complete scam, and it was supposed to be a legitimate job that was posted on there, and some poor actor fell into the trap of reading it. So, I mean, those are more of the sophisticated things that can happen legally to
Were you
voice
involved
actors
with-
and actors.
With Bev Standing's lawsuit against
Yes.
TikTok? You were? I
Yes.
thought you were. Okay.
Yes, I was the attorney that handled that case.
Can
for
you
her.
can you give us a microcosm of that case as much as you can divulge?
Yeah, sure. I mean, what happened was so that was like there was different stages of AI. So like the first stage, the bigger companies, the big four, Microsoft, Amazon, Google, and Apple, were just taking people off the street, giving them a gift card and telling them, hey, read a bunch of these words. And that's how they were putting their AI voices together.
Oh, wow.
And then they realized, hey, you know what? This doesn't really sound that good. Duh, because they were hiring people off the street. So the next phase was when those companies, they were hiring all these little sub studios and companies to hire voice actors to get them to record all those phrases and pages and pages. Remember when that happened, you would read pages and pages to create an AI voice. And a lot of those companies were out of China. So that was what happened to Bev. She got a job offer for a company out of China. Said that they were it was for some company in the Netherlands that was doing a translation thing. I forget the exact details, but they didn't say anything that this was for AI or anything like that. It was just, this is for research, for translation. So next thing you know, Bev's, I think her niece or something, her daughter, hears her as the voice of TikTok.
Wow.
The voice where if you want a script read, you just put the script in there and then the voice reads it. So
And
she
it's
was
Bev's voice doing that, yeah.
Yeah, she was the original voice. So she didn't know what to do, so she contacted me. And I wrote TikTok a bunch of times. They didn't respond, so I had to end up suing them in federal court, Southern District of New York, and then they finally did respond. And we found out that they had purchased those files legitimately from that company that Bev had done the work for. But
Wow.
they ended up settling the case. And that I can't tell how much.
Right,
That's the
yeah.
part that's under an NDA. But that all that stuff I just told you is on public record, so anybody can look it up. And that's what happened. So those things don't happen as much now, but you do see now. What I'm seeing in the AI world is people that did those jobs that got hired by those legitimate companies, where they signed what I call the career suicide contract. The one that said we're taking all this we're taking these files and we can use them for any purpose in perpetuity. We could even use it for AI, and it says it right in the contract. We could even use this for AI to sell commercials, and then they list all these things: video games, documentaries, like list a whole list of things. Like, I would never. Anybody that came to me at that time, that's what I said. This is career suicide. I have no idea what's uses this is gonna be in the future. I would not sign this thing. So those are the cases I'm seeing now. Is there people? Hey, my voice is on this bank and this bank and this bank. Did you do any jobs with Apple, Google, Amazon, or Microsoft in the last 10 years? Well, I just happen to have yes. Here's the contract. Those are the things I'm seeing now. So,
Is there any recourse on that stuff? Or is it because they signed on the dotted line? It's nothing you can do.
they got paid for it. So there's
Yeah.
nothing. They got paid decent money for them too back then. So
Yeah.
they
What a
were paying
shame,
thousands
though.
of dollars.
Yeah.
I mean,
I've seen those. It's 10, 12, 15 grand, maybe, whatever it might be. But like you said, it's career suicide because you hear these same voices AI'd over and over and over. And I'm like, this
Right.
poor guy got paid probably 12, 15 grand or whatever. And now his voice is so saturated that if he does an audition, that they're going to go, oh, that's that AI. You're the AI voice guy, and they're not going to, he's so saturated in the voiceover market that nobody's
Right.
going to want to hire him.
exactly. I mean, that was one of the downfalls, of course. And I don't know, legislation may come up that do something about it, but I don't think that's going to happen because from what I've seen so far, the legislatures and governments are not jumping up and down trying to pass AI legislation. So you think that they would, but it's really, really slow, and I haven't really seen that much, as Tim Freelander can tell you.
Yeah.
There's
Speaking of
not a
that,
lot. So,
is the Nava writer enforceable if you just send it to your client through an email and they sign it?
Yes. Yeah,
Okay.
I was the one that developed the rider with
Okay.
Tim. And yes, that's really the only protection that you have is putting something in the contract or putting that rider on saying that they're agreeing not to clone your voice. But even then, I've had clients come to me where they have that in there and the client didn't care and they still clone their voice. But at least you have a recourse.
Yeah.
So.
Hey, y'all, this is Tim Heller.
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 What a strange young man.
Who's Tim Heller? And you're listening to the Making Waves VO podcast with Kevin and Bobby. And all the other voices you just heard.
Can we talk about, it says in your website that you do trademark services as well.
Yes.
So what if a voice talent becomes pretty big in a certain genre and they decide to trademark their name or their, say like Leslie laughs a lot. I'm just using an example because I don't want to bring out this specific instance here on the podcast publicly. So somebody else kind of treads into that territory and you get a stern warning that you're treading on their territory.
Yep.
Can you do that?
Yes.
Yes.
And
if
actually,
they trademark it.
That's another area of litigation that's going on now. I see voice talent using other voice talent material, and I'm seeing voice talent getting cease and desists from big companies because they're using big companies' trademarks, or they're not directly, but they're around the edges of it. Or they maybe use a part of it, or they'll use part of the logo or something. So I've seen a few talents get those cease and desist from the big companies.
How are they using those logos that you're talking about? Because I'll put like logos of clients that I've worked for on my
I've seen
website.
cease and desist for those in the
Really?
past.
Okay.
So it really just depends.
Forget
on the
everything I
client.
just said. I was just joking.
It doesn't happen a lot, but it does happen. What happens more is some part of their logo or their marketing material breaches on the big companies. For instance, I'm going to mention one that I'm dealing with now, Louis Vuitton.
Mm-hmm.
So they have sued one of my clients because of their part of that name is in their name. So they have sent the cease and desist, and
I think I know what you're talking about.
so
Because I've seen the logo.
you're probably not. I don't think.
Maybe.
I don't think you know who
Okay.
it is. But
Oh, okay.
but Louis Vuitton has gone after one of my clients, and then it happens quite frequently. I'll get cease and desists from clients from the bigger companies because they're saying that's too similar to ours.
Yeah.
The colors are
Disney
the
is
same.
big.
The fonts are still the same. All those
Yeah.
kinds of things. So yes,
I know
Disney.
Disney will sue in a heartbeat. Yeah.
Disney's very tough. They're very protective of their IP. So I would not do anything with Disney unless you get express permission from them. And I even have personal experience with that because I had done an audition for one of their children's books, and I had asked to use a piece of it on my demo, and they said absolutely not. You cannot use it. So I mean, that's fine. But you just have to know, like, Disney's gonna be one of those companies that are gonna chase you. So just be careful on what you're doing.
We're talking with attorney and actor Robert Sciglimpaglia.
There you go.
My gosh.
Third time's the charm.
Sciglimpaglia, my friend. Sorry about that. Do you spend more time on voiceover or legal stuff?
I actually spend the most. Well, I spend a lot of time on legal, and again, see, it's all intertwined because I do all these voiceover cases, and I do.
Oh yeah.
Probably the most time I spend is on film and
Okay.
TV.
Yeah,
So-
let's talk about your on-camera stuff.
Yeah, I'm interested. In
I
what
saw
you're
you
doing.
post something not too long ago. Did you had a part on? Was it a CBS show? Or was it one of the CSIs or something like that? Or
I don't remember.
you posted something where you were in a suit and you had a scene, and I don't know. It was maybe
Yeah, I
in the
don't-
last year or so.
I don't remember. I've done a few things over the last. I've done a few films. Maybe one of the films, probably.
That may have been what it was. Can you talk about that side, the on-camera side?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I act where I get hired, and I produce. And I've been doing much more producing than just direct acting for clients. And it takes up a lot of my time.
Producing video or audio?
No, producing film. So
Okay.
Oh, wow.
I'll be the full executive producer, or I'll be production counsel, or I'll be the on the ground producer, or some part of it. And then most of the time they'll give me a part when I'm doing those things. So I think the thing I did most recently was I was in Texas for a haunted hotel called the Gunther. It's real. It's a real haunted hotel, and the filmmaker asked me to help him produce it, and it's called The Night at the Gunther. So it's about true stories that happen there. And if any of the listeners out there want to check it out, just go on and Google the Gunther Hotel, San Antonio, Texas, and you'll see all the hauntings and things that happened at that hotel. There was a murder that happened in the 60s, and that was a big part of the story. So that I played the hotel manager in that. So I was basically the narrator, the on-camera narrator.
Oh, nice.
In that film. So that was the last one I did. Oh, I think I know the one you're talking about, Kevin. That was the one I did. It was one I did in Niagara Falls back in March or April, where I played it was a lawyer film. One of the good ones is what it was called. But I didn't play a lawyer in that.
But you were wearing a suit, right? Were you wearing a suit?
The suit was the Gunter, so that was.
Oh, that may have been what I saw then.
The one in I played a comedic, really quick day part in the lawyer film, and it was hilarious. But I basically just was wearing a towel, yelling at the main actor running down the hall. So.
Well, I'm curious. Is it like VO? Are you doing self-tape auditions at home? Or are you going into New York from Connecticut? Or how's that work these days?
No, it's mostly self-tape for the auditions, and sometimes when you're getting in the nitty-gritty part, where you're getting considered, then you would have sometimes go live in front of the director or producers. With the production stuff I'm doing, that's the stuff I'm doing on my own. So those are things where people approach me with projects, and I'm at the point now where I get a lot of projects that come in, and then I have also made contacts with financiers, so I could get involved with the whole thing, getting the financing for the film, getting the distribution for the film. I have distribution partners that I use, so I can get a film done from script to distribution. So, and actually, the other one that I think, Bob, you may, or Kevin, you may be mentioning is there was a documentary that just came out called The Final Round. I know I put an announcement out on that. And that was about, it was a boxing documentary, but it was really about law, because the head of the IBF, International Boxing Federation, was an African American, and he was accused of racketeering, because they were saying he was seeking bribes from people like Don King, and the FBI wanted him to testify against Don King, and he's like, no, I'm not going to testify against Don King. This never happened, and they actually ended up bringing him to trial, and he got convicted, and they stripped him of his IBF presidency. So we did a documentary about it, and it's called The Final Round. It's out on Prime too, but you can find it on multiple streaming networks. So that was one that I did from beginning to end.
Very cool.
Script.
I'd like to go into more of the AI again, because there's so many scams out there. I mean, everywhere you turn. So I got an email 3 days ago, from the Translation Gate LLC. The guy had everything covered. It looks official. He has the logo. He says it's a dubbing project, and do you have dubbing experience? And it really looked like it was just like an open casting. And I didn't reply at all. And overnight, because it looks like he's in the Middle East somewhere, he says, Bobby, did you get my email? We're still wondering if you're interested in this project. And it's just screaming some kind of AI, especially being a dubbing project. And I mean, I guess you just have to do your homework and look into it before you go any further, right?
So unfortunately, this is the way I look at the world, the voiceover world now. Unless I get a job or an audition that comes in through my agents, I don't trust it automatically. I just look at it as it's a scam. Anything that comes in over the email, I just assume is a scam, unless it's proven otherwise to me that it's not. Because Middle East, right there, that's a huge red flag. China, huge red flag. Anything out of the country, huge red flag. If something goes wrong, you're done. You're not going to be able to do anything about it. You're not going to be able to chase somebody in the Middle East or China. So, and that's where a lot of the scams come from. Unfortunately, I don't want to sound like I'm being prejudiced or racist, but it's just a fact. Like, that's where people are. They're in those areas of the world where the scams come out of. I guess the reason why is because they don't have IP laws. Copyright laws there like we do, so it's easier to pull off a scam because there's no IP protecting you, intellectual property laws. So I look at every single job that comes through like that as, yes, they're trying to get your voice for something, for a deep fake, for AI, for something that's not legit. So
what are we doing in the voice?
Cash. The other one is the other big one is the cash. Send the cash
overpayment.
Back. The overpayment scam.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
It could be that too. Because I've seen like 9 out of 10 of the scams that I see are the overpayment scam. It's some form of it.
That thing's been around over a decade now. Like,
yeah,
it's like it's like a rite of passage that you get that email.
It's really sophisticated now too. They're really sophisticated. They'll actually make you record now, and they'll send the money, and then you send the files. And they're like, "Oh no, we don't really like these." The client pulled out, and you do days and days of work, and
wow.
and the money it's bogus. It's a bad check, So what I would say on that is if you're going to get an e-check or a check, to bring it to the bank first, because most of the time the bank can tell you if it's fake or not when they look at it. So I wouldn't put it in. I would bring it there. Is this a good check? Is this not a good check? And get their opinion first before you start doing any work. But I've seen clients that do the work and aren't getting, wasting their time and getting scammed. I've seen there's the scam out there where you actually have to pay. Did you see that one?
No.
There's the scam. I forget the name of the company, but they want you to put money into an account. You have to put this money into an account.
Oh.
And this is our bank account here, and you put it in there, or it's a Bitcoin account or something, and then you put money in. You're paying money to do this gig, so you get something back.
And the sad thing is up and coming voice actors are so desperate for a gig that they'll do it.
They do it.
And if it's their first job, they're so excited. They don't think that way.
They do it. Yeah, it's just so sad because that's what these scammers are. They're just rubbing their hands together and salivating, and they love it because people will do it. It's terrible. So I get to hear all of it after at the end of I get to hear all the lament at the end which is terrible. But I mean, I don't know there's really no way to stop it. You just have to really be careful and really look at every single word in your email to see if it's legit. I mean, seriously, I'm not lying to you when I say when I see an email come through, I just delete it. I just assume that, unless it's somebody I know, of course.
Yeah.
But if it's coming from China, Middle East, would you like to do this project? Delete. I just assume it's a scam. I'm not even going to go down that road. So
I just ask for money up front nowadays.
Yeah.
When it comes from there, I'll say, I need it in advance.
Well, that's another way to do it, to see if, to flesh it
away.
out. But you're not going to hear back from them. That's fine. Or they're going to send you money, and then they're going to want you to send money back to them at some point. So, yeah, sure, no problem. Here's the money. They'll send you a fake check.
You don't want to miss what's next. Making Waves returns momentarily.
This is Tracy Thibodeau, and you've got the best VO podcast in all the land right here. The Making Waves VO podcast with Kevin and Bobby. Enjoy.
Full Compass is your one-stop destination for cutting-edge audio, video, and lighting solutions. With nearly 50 years of industry expertise, we offer a vast selection of high-quality equipment from microphones, recording interfaces, and software to audio accessories, monitors, headphones, and other pieces to help you find your ideal sound. Our trained product experts are here to help every step of the way with unmatched customer service. You'll also get free same-day shipping, flexible financing options, and a low price guarantee. Visit us online at fullcompass.com or call 800-356-5844 today.
And now back to Making Waves.
You've covered a lot of stuff that we, should be aware of in terms of the scams and the, getting an LLC and making sure that our contracts are on point. But is there anything that we're doing in the voiceover industry, or is there anything else that we should be aware of that we're just not, that you can see from your side and you go, you know what, we need to be more aware of this in our industry?
The other thing to be aware of are, I have just seen straight out theft of or not paying, taking files and just not paying. I've seen that happen so many times. So people they'll record, they'll send their material in. There's a middle person that you sign on with, and the middle person sends the files off to the client, and then the client uses the files, and then you never get your money. I mean, I would always insist on knowing who the client is. Who am I working for? So you know who to chase if that happens. And it happens a lot. I mean, I see this a lot. So
for the lower paying gigs, is there anything that you can do? Let's say the gig was $500 and somebody's chasing $500 and they reach out to you. You're probably going to say it's not worth your time, right?
Yeah, I'll write a letter probably, but that's about it. I mean, yeah, $500. It's not going to be worth my time or the client's time. So
that's a shame. I've had a method that I've deployed, I think 3 times in the last 21 years, and it's worked every single time to collect money. And I did a bunch of concert spots for Hootie and the Blowfish coming to such and such arena. And then you've got this concert promoter that doesn't want to pay El Kev for all the voiceover. And I was actually doing production as well. And I said, it was, way past 90 days, couple of collection emails, that kind of vibe. And then finally, 4 to 6 months, whatever it was, I said, hey, do I need to reach out to Hootie and the Blowfish's management team maybe I was confused about who to get the invoice to. Should I reach out to them and submit? And right away, no, I've got you. I'm going to pay that, be looking for this money in your PayPal within 24 hours. And sure enough, and that method has worked every single time. Is that illegal, what I'm doing?
Absolutely not. No,
okay.
That's what you should be doing. You should be contacting.
And one time it was a CBS gig. There was a producer in between me and CBS, and I said, hey, was I supposed to bill CBS? And they're like, no, I will pay you. And it's, like I said, literally 3 times in like 21 years.
That happens all the time now. And what happens if that production company that you did work for just disappeared off the face of the earth?
Yeah.
Because that happens too. They're based in Middle East or China, and they just fall off the face of the earth. They never contact you again. So then what do? You have to go to the end client. I've had to do that a couple times. So, and what if the job is 10 or 15,000?
Yeah.
It's worth pursuing.
Getting you involved.
Yeah. So, true. I mean, it's, sometimes you'll get the client that'll pay, and sometimes they're like, we already paid. So it's,
wow.
It's not easy. It's definitely not easy. So a lot of pitfalls, and I really do feel sorry for the newer talent, because a lot of these things I didn't have to deal with when I started 20 years ago, and I'm sure you guys didn't deal with a lot of these things 20 years ago either. These things, it's become more and more where there's more scams and more people that are just, they don't care about you. They want the files, and that's it.
Just wearing more hats overall. I mean, it's a lot of people getting into it thinks it's just a microphone and sending a file, but it's a business. Yeah, there's so much to it. You've been on the conference trail before. Are you going to be at VO Atlanta next year, or anything else coming up?
Possibly. I'm actually, I've been doing other conferences. I went to Podfest this January.
Oh, nice.
And I've got invited to speak at the International Intellectual Property Law Association in Palo Alto, their conference coming up in a couple weeks. So I've been doing other conferences, which is why I haven't been doing as many voiceover conferences, because it's too much. It's too much.
Too many conferences.
One or two conferences a year is a lot. So, if I have to work them into my schedule. But I think J. Michael already asked me if I wanted to do VO Atlanta this year, or One Voice, or one of them. So I'll probably do one of them this year coming up.
Very nice. Robert, I know we asked you about this, or you may have seen it in the primer, but we'd like to do a nightmare session story about a recording session or other session, maybe it'd be an on-camera for yourself session that couldn't have gone much worse. Do you have a story you could share with us in a couple of minutes?
I do. I actually have a couple of stories.
Good. All right. Well, hold on to those really tight, because we've talked all legal stuff, man, and we've talked about a little bit about your acting career on camera. What about voiceover, though? When you do voiceover work, what genres are you spending the most time on?
I do pretty much all commercial work now.
Oh, nice. What kind of gigs are you getting in the commercial space? Like dad next door, or, booming announcer, or what are you getting?
I get dad, I get father, I get sometimes the regular guy announcer type things, and, the local stuff, regional stuff, every once in a while, national. But those are the ones I actually try to go for, too. I don't seek out some of the narration things, I definitely don't do e-learning anymore, and you'll hear why when I tell my story. Okay,
good. Oh, now that's a tease. That's a showbiz tease right there.
But it's, so I try to concentrate on the commercials, because those are the things that I like. Those are the things that are usually the quickest.
And the most cash, for your time and effort,
Exactly. That I can fit into my schedule, which is the biggest thing, because in between those things, I'll be getting calls from filmmakers, I get calls from legal clients, so I'm definitely a good juggler. I've learned how to juggle over the years.
Chainsaws included?
Absolutely. Chainsaws, torches,
cats,
every other thing. Every other dangerous thing.
Who knew all this stuff about you? Wow.
That's excellent, man. Well, if you don't mind, thank you for your time today, but we always like if they've got one or two stories they want to share, we would love Robert Sciglimpaglia to get a nightmare session story from you.
Nightmare Sessions!
Sure. Well, actually, I'll tell you this different story first before the one I just teased you about, because
right.
It's shorter. So I had done it wasn't an e-learning, but it was an online presentation, a few minutes, and it was for a computer security company. And they sent me this copy, and I did the session. I was reading, and there was 3 people that were directing me. So at first it was just like, oh, just be natural, be yourself. And then by the time the 3rd person came on, I still remember the direction. I want you to read this like you're eating the sweetest candy you ever had in your life. And we were talking about like cyber break-ins and hackers, and I was like, what? so I did
bizarre.
It was very bizarre. And then it went through an agent. So my agent called me and he's like, they're going to replace you. He goes, for some reason you weren't meeting the timing. So that's what they were trying to do, to get me to do the timing. I was like, what? Don't they have an engineer? Give me the damn files. I'll time it for them.
That's just bizarre. What kind of direction is that for that topic?
Exactly. That's what I scratched my head. I did what they wanted me to do, but it wasn't sounding right to me. So I wasn't really surprised when the agent called and said they're gonna replace me. I was like, okay, thank you. Just get my check. Tell them to have fun.
So strange.
So that was one nightmare session. So this is the one where I quit e-learning. So I had gotten this 8-page, single-spaced script, and it was instructions. So I remember I got it the same time that I had just got I had just gotten a part to do a pilot for Mysteries at the Castle the following day. So
Nice.
I had to get this, I wanted to get this thing done so that it was done because I knew I was gone the next day. So, I was pretty happy. So I read the script. I send it in. They send it back like 10 o'clock that night. And they're like, the client said that this is too boring. You have to redo it. And I said, well, I'm not going to be able to redo that. And this was the topic. It was about installing a public bathroom stall. Put the 5/8 inch screw here. Put the panel up here. That was the topic. 8 pages. And I'm like, how am I supposed to make that sound not boring? Tell me this.
Yeah. You just need to be straightforward and matter of fact and just, easy to listen to.
It was too boring. We're going to replace you. And I was like, do you think the guy installing the damn stall is going to care that if I have a smile on my face or not? I literally said that. And I was like, you find somebody else. It's fine. Because I knew, I was like, I had the happiest job of my life coming up the next day. And it was the happiest day, one of the happiest days of my life the next day versus this stupid thing where they give me a hard time about a urinal stall.
Do you feel like you burned that bridge?
No, not really, because it came through. It was one of it was one of those online. I don't want to say it was a casting site, but they were laughing too. So
okay, good. Okay.
So like it wasn't like I wasn't saying that to the client. I was saying that to this casting site, and they were just relaying the message, and they were shaking their head, laughing as well. So,
Robert, I can't believe you didn't give it one more take and give it a take like you were sucking on the sweetest piece of candy you ever had in your life.
8 pages, though? 8 pages? No, I don't think so.
This candy's good. Here's how you install the bathroom wall, Oh, my gosh.
It literally was you drill a hole here, you use the 5/8 inch anchor, you put the screw in, you take the panel out of the box, you take the paper or the cellophane off, you hang it up, you get a level. That's literally what it was. Literally. For 8 pages, because it's a stall. So obviously they had the door to put together, but I wasn't going to do that again. I'm like, they don't like that.
They wanted you to be Tim Tooltime Taylor.
Have someone else do it. I'm not reading those 8 pages again.
Oh, man. Well, Robert, this has been great getting to know you and getting to talk to you all about voiceover and legal issues involved with voiceover. Thanks so much for being on the podcast today. If somebody wanted to reach out to you, well, first of all, are you accepting clients that may have legal issues in the voiceover world?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, sure. How can they reach out to you?
Best way is to go to my website. It's Rob Sig, ESQ, ROBSCIGESQ.com. That's the best way you can find out. You'll have all my phone numbers there, my emails, everything.
Does it have to be voiceover related?
No, absolutely not. I do taxes as well, so that's something some people don't know that I do. But I
tax
I do.
Law, not filing taxes for.
No, I
clients,
actually
right?
do tax returns too.
No kidding.
Oh,
I am actually get my PTIN. I have my PTIN, my professional tax ID number from the IRS, so I can file returns. And
you know what?
Do tax law. So
are you going to take up being a mortician next? Do you have enough to do? Gosh, man.
Well,
doesn't your head just like go crazy?
It's all
every
related.
night?
It's all related.
Yeah,
One
I
thing
guess so.
leads to another. Like when I'm doing the financing stuff for the films, it involves a lot of tax work, and it involves a lot of crunching numbers. So just putting the numbers in the tax return is not that big of a deal.
Now, let me hold you accountable really quick for something, because I watched a little bit of an interview that you had done where you said that you were a pol science major, but you dipped because of the math stuff. Now you're doing math.
Well, if I didn't have a computer, I wouldn't be doing it. Trust me. I don't do the math. The computer does it.
It was the adding machine that got you.
I need to know where to put the numbers in the computer. That's it.
Oh, goodness. Well, man, this has been so much fun. Robert Sciglimpaglia, thank you so much for being on the Making Waves VO podcast with Bobby and I today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
We learned a lot.
That's good.
In a short time, yeah.
We'll see you out in the
Thanks
wild,
so much.
man. Thanks.
Take care.
Well, that was very enlightening, Bobby. I got a lot more knowledge from the legal side of VO than I thought, and it's knowledge that I didn't know I needed, but I do.
Yeah, and I think he's a very smart man because he's prepared for a drop in any area. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He can work in so many different areas and be just fine.
And think of all the expertise in the voiceover space that he has. I know he just said he works mostly in commercial, but just think of the confidence and authority that he can add to any kind of financial spot, a legal spot,
Sure.
Any kind, and filmmaking. Hello.
Yeah,
He's
I
a
know.
film producer. Come on. We're just not trying hard enough, Bobby. I think that's what
I guess.
Good grief.
I can't wait till the next book comes out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you can keep an eye out for the second edition of his voiceover legal book. And I've heard from a lot of people that it is gold, that it helps set you up for your business and all kinds of stuff. So very generous with his time. And I'm going to do it one more time. Robert Sciglimpaglia. Hey,
Nice.
Hey, I feel like I should say, let me make you an offer you can't refuse.
He does have that raspy,
He does.
voice that you think of with an Italian name.
Yeah, very cool. Good stuff today, Bobby.
It is.
I guess we'll do it again maybe next week. Yeah?
Let's do it.
Yeah. And, we've got a surprise next week. It's such a surprise that I don't know what it is yet.
I think you used that one before.
I have. But make sure and join us for our next edition of the Making Waves VO podcast, brought to you by our good friends at Full Compass, fullcompass.com.
We know VO.
Bye, Bobby.
Bye.
The Making Waves VO podcast is produced by K2 Media Productions with hosts Kevin Kilpatrick and Bobby Maxwell. Sound design and editing by Jason Traver. Production assistance by Lacey Deline. Publicity and social media by Shannon Scott and Silas Phillips. Be sure to subscribe to the Making Waves VO podcast on your favorite platform. For all episodes, merchandise, gear, and more, visit makingwavesvo.com. Until next time, I'm AJ McKay. Keep making waves. Well, hello there. I'm AJ McKay, voice actor, demo producer, and audio engineer. And you're listening to the Making Waves VO podcast with my good friends, love these guys to death, Kevin Kilcarney and Bobby Maswell. What's that? Kevin Kilpatrick and Bobby Maxwell. Whatever.
And now back to Making Waves.
They were looking for authentic. However, they did say in the breakdown that this was a made-up place. So they essentially, it's weird. It sounded like they wanted the essence of these characters, but they wanted the authenticity to be there, but they were from a made-up place that didn't exist.
You can't get authentic that way. It's like when you see a script and they're like, Kevin, this character is not an announcer. He's your next door neighbor. He is your friendly guy. He is this, and the script says announcer.
Yes.
And, it's...
But see, I see that's where it's not great for us. Because, for example, when you want African American, they're not going to be super specific. But when you want Latino, they can be from all these other countries. So it's like, how do you? It's not great.
Hey, South
Maybe
Asians.
we do want to be lumped into all Latinx.
Right?
How can they change that?
I don't know that I have an answer for you.
I don't know. I'm going to jump in here, Kevin. I feel like, okay, so before it didn't matter what I looked like, behind the mic. It did not matter. I could voice a corporate narration. I could voice a commercial. It did not matter what I looked like. And then when I see these breakdowns, okay, let's say the breakdown will say Caucasian, Southern. But I grew up in Indiana, I'm born and bred in Indiana. Yes, my heritage is Pakistani, but I'm American, So, but I've not been cast for any roles, although I can do a great Southern accent. I grew up in it. I'm not getting cast for those things, even when I audition.
Nazia, do you audition for roles that ask for a Pakistani accent?
Yes, I do.
Awesome.
And Pakistani or Indian, my heritage is South Asian. So my grandparents, due to the partition, were Indian before Pakistan was Pakistan, right?
Okay.
So that was just a little technicality there. But, that's the only way I can play the Indian roles is because of my heritage, But I see some of my counterparts who I did see the breakdown for authenticity, and they might be a South Asian person doing the Arab American role or Arab voice, or an Egyptian accent. So that makes me question, well, why didn't I audition for that, Because I was trying to follow the rules. Right.
And I also wanted to, if I may, contribute, because while it sounds incredibly difficult and frustrating, the more we niche down with authenticity, I would be remiss not to say that as a Black person, that is been made this catch-all, and it is, it's you're Black, you're fine, because it's not, we don't have, right, African Americans, we don't have countries that we know of to come from and things like that. We have no idea, but we have culture, we have cities, and so it might be a regional Black accent or from up north or something. But we, amongst ourselves, talk a lot about being pigeonholed into the Black accent, like I am African American. No matter how I sound, I am, and that's authentic. But what they're looking for sometimes, and what they really want, is what we call urban, and I'm air quoting as hard as I can. I mean, I'm air quoting as hard as I can, because a lot of times people want that and they don't know how to say it. At least people have learned not to say, get more, sassy, get more this. Like, there's just no good
Rebecca,
way.
They're saying, could you be more Black?
Exactly.
That's what we're saying.
Exactly.
Whitey McWhite says, can you be more Black for us?
Oh, wow.